Welcome back, Pro Football Pod, bringing you weekly betting preview. We got some matchups. Starting it off with Thursday night. New York Jets are traveling to Cleveland. That's going to be tough on the Jets. Cleveland basically just gets to sit all their defensive starters. And let's ride. They're favored minus
That's
7.5.
Because they already got the playoffs locked up?
No, they're playing the Jets. The
That's
Jets
why
offense?
they're sitting them?
Yeah, because the Jets
Oh,
offense.
gotcha. I mean, they've been doing decent. Brees Hall.
They played the Commanders last week.
I mean, if you know, that's a good point.
Now,
really good
we
point.
don't know. We're recording this Thursday or Wednesday night, so we'll find out more tomorrow. But it looks like Amari Cooper's not playing.
Yeah, so
they're probably going to be cautious with him because they're making the playoffs. Like they're very set up to make the playoffs. I don't see a world where they don't. With Houston and all those other teams fighting it out, like I think they're at least going to be a wild card. They're likely not going to win their division because freaking Ravens are looking so damn good. But it's all about
props up for Cooper.
If the Browns win this game, I believe they secure a playoff spot regardless of what happens in Week 18.
That sounds good.
Because if they win this game, they go to 11-5. And I mean, so if you lose, you go to 11-6. And I mean, after the Bills, there's no team that would be above them. So, like, regardless, if the Browns win this week, they clinch.
Do you guys think that Njoku could get 6 receptions? Do you think that's a possibility?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Especially if Amari Cooper is out and Njoku's going to get like 14 targets.
Yeah.
His line's sitting at 4.5. I think that's disrespectful as hell for what he's been doing the past 4 or 5
That's
weeks.
where you play the ladder on that. You bet his over 4.5, then you go bet his 6+, then you go bet 8+, even sprinkle a little bit on 10+. Like I'd go all the way down the ladder on him on if Amari Cooper is out, absolutely.
Now 34.5 over under. We really think Cleveland's going to score 35 points in this game?
Jets have shut down every team.
No, it's not Cleveland scoring 35. It's how many points are the Jets going to help them with that?
Well, I don't think they're going to get any. I think their offense is legitimately that bad against Cleveland's defense.
Max points, I think the Jets give you 10. So then you're asking, is the Cleveland offense going to give you 25? Versus the Jets defense, I don't think so.
Well, in recent weeks, they have been. Now they haven't been playing the Jets every week, but
I like the under here. The primetime matchup is, I mean, Thursday nights it's just a given to take the under. It's been winning too much. Lately, the past 2 weeks, it's been hit the over. But with these matchup, definitely under. The Jets are going to score. Browns are going to score like 21 points. And that's
last time they played the Ravens, they put up 33. Now, they only put up 13 versus the Steelers, but that was such a shit game, if you guys remember.
Also, like I said, too, this is the type of point in the season where, like I said, the Browns, they win one of their next 2, they're in. So the Jets really don't have that spoiler effect to where, like, so, I mean, with the Jets being out of it, they can't really play spoiler. It's more of, if they're not up early in this game, how much fight do they really put up on a Thursday night game, knowing that they get a 10-day rest after this? Like, that's my thing. So I hammer the under on that.
Yeah.
And they only put up 20 against the Bears last week before they played the Texans this past week. So, yeah, I think that I'm not super excited. The Bears defense is not as good as the Jets defense at all. So,
next game,
they've been coming together.
The next game,
Detroit at Dallas, might be game of the week.
Both teams have already clinched playoffs. Lions have already clinched their division.
This is for seeding.
Seeding purposes here, but also, a possible playoff preview.
Yeah.
Like, I would not be shocked to see this as a potential playoff matchup.
Absolutely.
And, like, for me, betting-wise, especially in the player prop market, it's Saturday night. So, primetime games kind of scare you a little bit, but Dallas is looking to make a statement after what just happened versus Miami, where they had that one stolen out from under them in the last 3 minutes.
And we're at home. This is in AT&T. Whereas the next time that the Lions and the Cowboys play, there's a very
Jerry,
big likelihood
Jerry
it's going to
World,
be in Detroit.
put some respect on it. It's Jerry World. Man put way too much money into that for AT&T to get mentioned first.
I guess. I mean, it is AT&T Stadium. They're playing at Jerry World, and the next time they play, if the Dallas Cowboys don't win this game, it will be in Detroit. And we know that Dallas does not want that. This is a must-win for them on like a philosophical standpoint. Like, yeah, they've already made the playoffs, but this is going to be a huge hindrance on their playoff run if they lose this game.
So based on how you're talking about this game, the spread should be at -2.5.
Instead of
But the
minus
spread is at
six,
6.
and they're
That's
giving the
outrageous.
Dallas. I'm taking Detroit at +6. I love giving them a touchdown.
I
I would
like.
take Detroit money line at +215. I mean,
Yeah.
look at how Detroit's running the ball, and
But
look at how we
Dallas
know
is a
what
much
can
different team at
expose the
home too,
Cowboys.
though.
I
Dallas
get that,
is so
but
different at home.
I understand that. But you got to lose one at home. I mean, you're bound to lose. And what is this team really capable of? Running the ball. Well, Dallas cannot stop the run. How are
No.
you going to stop Jameer Gibbs and Montgomery getting into the end zone for
That's a
2
good
to
point.
3 times?
So
That's a
how do
very
you
good
feel
point.
about the over on the 53.5 here?
That's solid. I would go over.
Even for it being the lone standalone primetime game on a Saturday? Because I mean that's where those
Yeah,
primetime
I
games
think
they get iffy.
I think
these offenses are high. Like
Well,
they have the
you figure
firepower to do it.
the Dolphins Cowboys game had a total of 42 scored in that. But I don't think the Lions defense is as good as the Dolphins defense.
it was also raining a little bit in that game.
That too.
Like
That
there
too.
was some weather in the first half. I think that Detroit being able to go into it's not a dome, but like into a weatherless
It's a dome.
situation.
Yeah,
It's a dome.
It's I mean they've got the roof that they leave open sometimes, but I think that
That's what I mean. Like,
Detroit's my only fear of them not being able to put up the points, and I think that their team is, like Austin said, built to be able to put up points against the Dallas Cowboys defense. Dallas really needs you to want to throw the ball. Dallas wins really, really hard when they're ahead because if you have to throw the ball, you're not going to have success versus them. But if you can pound it out, then you're going to be able to get something moving down the field. Miami's
24.
traveling to Baltimore. Baltimore's favored -3.5 with a 46.5 over under. What do you guys feel there?
I mean, MVP Lamar playing. Gotta take them. Gotta take them Ravens. Banged up Terry Hill. No Waddle.
Waddle might
The
play.
way-
Word
The
came
way
out
that
that
the
he's still
Ravens
questionable.
defense is looking
What is
shows
the
me that they can
status
stop
of
you.
Kyle Hamilton as of right now?
That's my question. If Kyle Hamilton doesn't play in this game and we get Snowman back, I think that that's the key right there. If Javon Holland plays and Kyle Hamilton does not, I think the Dolphins look a lot better.
I think, and we don't really know what because when Javon Holland, the last game he played was that Jets game. You know, he on Black Friday ran an entire field length for a pick six, and then played the rest of the game, and then all of a sudden has been out with an injury to what they just classify as both knees.
Yep.
And so for me, it's like, okay, he's started to slowly, we're hearing more and more how he might be coming back. So for me, this is the game to come back for.
Yeah,
Like,
have to
you
have
got
him.
to, this game, the next game, like, if you're going to come back, this is when we need you here. Because I agree. Like, the Ravens offense and the Dolphins offenses are both two of the top just scoring offenses in the league. The Dolphins, I believe, are second in the league in rushing. The Ravens are first in the league in rushing.
And then we're
So
first in passing, and they're like third.
now where the
Or maybe
difference
fifth.
lies is on the defensive side. The Ravens versus the run are somewhere around the late teens, mid 20s, whereas the Dolphins versus the run are about top 10. So
That's
to me, this game comes down to containing Lamar Jackson. Do not allow him to have over 45, 50 rushing yards on you in this game. and
That's not
force him
possible.
to get the ball out of his hands to his receivers.
On the season, the Dolphins are only behind the Atlanta Falcons on rush defense based off of PFF. Now, if you go based off of PFF, they have the number one defense. They're zero point 0.1 points better than the San Francisco 49ers at this point. They also have the number one running game. They have the number one passing offense. They have the number two receiving core. They have the number one overall team. So, based off of PFF, I mean, the Dolphins should win this game. I think the biggest thing is that since Ramsey's been back, they've been the number one scoring defense and number one against the rush. Like, having him there, I can't believe Brandon Cook scored that touchdown. It's the only touchdown he's given up all year, and it was such a good play by Dak and Cooks.
It's
He
such a
tried
good
so
throw.
hard
Such a
to
good
stop
throw
him.
and catch.
Dude, it was indefensible. The
So-
best
yeah.
defender on
Like you
planet
can't
Earth
defend you
could
can't
not
defend
stop
a
it.
perfect throw. Like
No.
you just can't. But for me, I mean, on the Dolphins offensive side, I believe this because of just how stout that Ravens defense is. I think this is one of those games to where, you know, how after the game you'll see on Twitter the next gen stats of showing all the dots where the ball was traveled to on every pass play. This is going to be one to where you see a bunch of dots in the 5 to 20 yard range and maybe one or two deep shots.
Yeah.
Like I don't see cuz Tua is going to have to get it out quick.
Pass rush
And
is coming. There's so many guys, too. They have so many dudes.
But for me, the key for this game though is for McDaniel. He can't get like he's been getting early on and getting too cute with his play calling, and he can't just absolutely bail on the run. If Jeff Wilson Jr. is healthy and you have Wilson Jr., Mostert, and A-Chain all healthy, all ready to go, you need to unleash that backfield. Like really get into your bag of run game coordinator and just keep that offense off the field. Like that's my thing for them. The deep shots are great, but they take 30 seconds and that offense is back on the field and they get to go 7-8 minutes down the field and just tie the game for you. And then what do you do?
Yeah.
Rip
Like,
up a
so
lot
that's
of
my
clock.
thing. Like, this needs to be a methodical coaching game for McDaniel. They beat him in Baltimore last year.
Which-
McDaniel did it before, but it also took a huge comeback and 6 touchdowns and almost 500 yards passing from Tua. And just, it was an insane game. And to me, you just cannot let Lamar break it open in the first half like he did last time.
Yeah, that was scary.
Now, New England is traveling to Buffalo. I so wish that this was the game played in New England, but they did already win that game earlier this year. Buffalo cannot lose this game. They're favored minus 13.5 with a 40.5 over.
I'm taking Pats plus 13.5 right now.
Yeah. I think
This
they
should
Like
be
keep
a
it
after what I
snowy
just saw
game.
them do versus the Chargers with Easton Stick, you mean to tell me Billy Zappi can't keep it within 13.5 points?
I agree.
Do you know if it'll be a snowy game? It has the making for it. Two New England teams.
This has the
Uh,
makings of Zeke getting 15 carries for 85 yards and 2 touchdowns. And is Ramondre Stevenson set to come back?
Who?
IR out for the
The
year.
boy
He's-
just said.
He hit
Boy
the
just said 2
IR.
touchdowns?
Yeah, I got
I
a
thought the last
notification
thing-
earlier today.
Man, they were talking about he was maybe set to come back, but they just went ahead and shut him down for the season. I mean, if you're out of the playoffs and there's nothing to play for, it makes sense.
Josh
Like
Allen
just for his
anytime
overall
tutty.
health.
That's a must hit. That
Yeah.
boy just is a vulture.
He has 13 rushing touchdowns this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Fucking teen. Like, what?
And he knows.
Well, he's the type too to where he doesn't need it like on the 2-yard line to just power it in.
10,
They'll
15
call a
yards.
quarterback draw at the 12-yard line and just
17.
let him weave his way in there.
Yep.
Yeah. He'll power his way up in there. It's
Now,
fun to watch. He's a fun player to watch. He's someone we didn't really mention, but he's an MVP candidate.
If
The
the
way he's playing
Bills
this
win
year.
the next 2 games and they take the division, I do think Josh Allen makes a lot of noise for MVP. As
Mhm.
much as I hate to say it, because he leads the league
He
in
is
overall
the team.
touchdowns. He leads the league in turnovers, but exactly, like he is that whole team. Like, so I do agree. If they win the next 2 and take the division, I think he makes a lot of noise for MVP.
Now, Arthur Smith's got to go ahead and travel to Chicago. Chicago
that
Bears
guy.
are favored -3,
Duh, Bears. Give me the
That guy
Bears.
37.5 over
sucks.
under.
Give me the Bears.
This is a must win for the Falcons. Even with them, they won last
Bear
week, right?
down.
The Bears have the luxury of being a
Barely.
bad team and not having to worry about that number 1 overall pick being affected
That's
because
so
it's
sick.
not theirs.
Yep.
Like, so that's my thing is absolutely go out there and see what you have in Justin Fields because you're going to have a decision to make.
Yeah, the
So
Falcons beat the
give me the
Colts
Bears.
to tie up their division, and yeah, the Falcons are only one game behind the Bucks. Don't they play the Bucks too? I want to say that they play them the last game of the season. No,
believe-
they play the Saints. Bears and then the Saints. So they've got two tough games. They have to win both of them to be able to make the playoffs. If they don't win, do you think that Arthur Smith's actually on his way out? Or do you think that that's just all of fantasy football hating this guy so much?
I think he's got one more season.
If he doesn't properly utilize all those skill position players next year, then you're done.
I think he's got one more season because of everything they brought in for that defense in the offseason and drafting Bijan, drafting Drake London and Kyle Pitts last year. Like, yeah, like he has the luxury right now of, okay, yeah, I drafted, Ritter, but I didn't really have a top draft pick to work with. And I couldn't really take anybody at Bijan's spot because we didn't really have value on anybody at that. So he does have like some excuses built in. So
We
I
could
think
He's
he's
the
see-
got
most
one more
annoying.
year.
He's the most annoying coach in the NFL, bro. You have one of the top 5 best running backs in the league, and you're not using him.
We
all year
could
long.
see Atlanta scouting out their quarterback of next year in this game.
Not going to be
Justin
Russell
Fields.
Wilson.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. I think that
The
that's
Georgia
a
boy
potential.
going back home
back
to Atlanta.
home.
That
Makes a lot
that
of
would
With
be
all those
awesome.
playmakers that they have, like
That would be awesome. And that, like you said, that would make a lot of sense for both teams. Like if the Bears decide to move on, send Justin Fields home, send him to a
second round
team, and
pick.
The
hell,
NFL
get
is a
Heineke
business.
or
and
Ritter
that's the
back
best
in the
business
trade
decision.
that you have a backup built in,
Yeah,
ready to go. Like I would take Heineke personally, like give me the
Absolutely.
veteran.
Yep.
But I mean, yeah, I agree. But as far as this game goes, give me the Bears -3 and give me the under 37.5. This game's just like a meh.
What? I don't know about the under there because like if Bijan
because of Fields and
does
DJ Moore.
play, yeah, and DJ Moore and Fields is just turning it up lately, and Cole Kmet, and like
Bears-
the Bears are
The
on a
Bears
tear
held
right now.
they held the Cleveland to like 17
That's
points.
what's interesting is
a
the
couple
Bears
weeks ago.
defense.
Like the Bears
But
defense has been turning up.
I'm scared of because of how many weapons is on the Falcons to work with. Like they have so much.
Yeah, but everyone
Some
stops
of
them.
the, some of the most.
All those-
I know. It's just one of those teams I haven't touched all year long. I haven't bet against them. I don't bet with them.
Now,
I hate the coach.
Got
a
11
team,
more games, boys. Let's roll through these.
a team that we've been
These are-
going pretty hard on for the last 5 or 6 weeks. Houston Texans. Tennessee's traveling to Houston. Houston's favored -4.5 with a 42.5 over under.
They just played. They just
Yeah,
played.
they
It
just
was,
played
there was
like
no
2
C.J.
weeks ago.
Stroud. Derrick Henry had 9 total yards on 15 carries. It was atrocious.
Yep.
So give me the Texans. There's no revenge game with Derrick Henry. I'm not gonna put him in any bets.
They should have Nico, Noah Brown,
Maybe the
and
under.
Who's their
Stroud.
other?
Yeah.
And Stroud, but and Bobby Trees. So they've got
Yeah.
they don't have Tank Dell, but they do pretty much have a solid receiving core. Like
Everyone.
they've got almost everyone. So I
If
agree.
CJ's playing, yeah, give me the Houston.
Now Vegas is
And
traveling
they're playing
to
for
Indy.
something.
And after what they just did to the Colts this past weekend, I guess everyone
one
thinks that
sucks.
You mean
it's
the
just Chiefs. Thank you. I guess everyone thinks it's just a divisional team thing, but they're
The
Colts are
Raiders
favored.
on a
-3.5.
freaking tear.
This is
Yeah,
not as
both
much
these-
of a must-win for the Raiders as it is for the Colts. The Colts cannot lose this game. They lose this game, they probably don't make the playoffs.
I know
I
the
get
Colts are at
that,
home,
but
but
the
after what
Raiders defense.
but also tie that in with what the Colts have shown you the last couple of weeks versus the Bengals with Jake Browning, and then this last week versus the Falcons. Like, to me, the Colts just give me no confidence going into this game, whereas the Raiders are on the complete flip side of that. And I believe, like, for at least most of the players on that team, they're playing for the most part of just backing their coach and Antonio Pierce and just trying to give him a leg up and, becoming the official coach next year or in the offseason. So give me the Raiders plus
definitely will be.
3.5 on the road. I'll take that all day.
Interim head coaches very rarely get the starting job, even when they
Very
have a
rarely.
bunch of success, because they're
They
not
just want to clean house.
exactly. They're not a head
This
coach caliber guy.
may be that anomaly though, because the way they're playing for him.
Especially in a situation like this, though, where they also fired the GM.
Yeah,
Now,
they want to bring a
where
coach in that's going to get to bring his
where
own GM.
Dan Campbell, his situation in Miami when he was the interim, Miami's GM was still the same. So he had a strong chance on becoming the head coach there. Now, it obviously didn't work out at the time, but when you have a turnover on GM like that, like the new GM you bring in most likely is going to bring in their own coach. So, like the Raiders, to me, they're a team that Jim Harbaugh could possibly be a guy they look for.
I
So
think
I'd
the
heard
Chargers get him.
recently that Harbaugh signed a new deal with the
That doesn't
Michigan
matter.
that said that in the details it said that he could not take an NFL coaching job in 2024. You
I
guys
haven't
didn't
heard
hear about
that.
this?
I didn't. The last
No.
thing I heard about Harbaugh is an interview. I believe it was today where they asked him about any NFL jobs or linking him to the Chargers, and all he said was no comment.
Okay. I
Because
think
he
the
knows his
Chargers
team's
makes
in
a
the
lot more
playoffs.
sense.
I think the Chargers make a ton of sense.
Yeah.
And
Give me Herbert over a team with no quarterback.
he already
Come
was
on
out
now.
in California with the 49ers.
And
So, I
took
mean,
him to a damn Super Bowl. Like,
yeah. So, yeah, I
with
agree.
Colin Kaepernick.
I
That was
agree.
an amazing Super Bowl to watch, the Harbaugh Bowl.
Oh man, I won some money on that one on the squares. I won like $400 in the fourth quarter.
I was pissed drunk off some Bud Lights at 15. Come on now.
Didn't remember getting home after that. Los Angeles Rams are traveling up to New York. Tommy DeVito is not getting the start. Tyrod Taylor is going to be starting this week. Rams are favored minus 5.5 with a 44.5 over.
Give me the Rams.
Yeah, Rams all day.
Moving on.
I think
Like,
Kyron
this is an
Williams.
easy one.
Kyron Williams' numbers might be something I'd
yeah.
be interested in. He hasn't been receiving as much as I expected him to. First
They
couple
don't need him
weeks,
to.
it's what it is.
No,
First
that
couple
was-
weeks, he had
yeah.
a bunch of receiving work, and then once he
that
got hurt,
screwed me up on my parlay last
They're not
week
really
and
using
putting him
him.
in for receptions.
Well, even his first game back when they played Arizona, like he 6 receptions, 60 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like,
yeah, it's what you expected.
But like I said, like they're okay. We've got Puka, we've got Cup, we've got
Demarcus
Higbee's coming
Robinson
along
now.
a little bit. Demarcus Robinson, all right.
He's had a
Let's not
touchdown in
necessarily
each of the
use
last
you.
4 games.
Yeah,
I told y'all boys, keep an eye on Robinson.
I actually
He's
picked
just
him
an
up
end
in
zone
fantasy
threat.
this week specifically to keep him out of the hands of a guy I'm playing who has Waddle.
There you
Because
go.
if Waddle goes
Big brain
down,
play,
he
baby.
was the top receiver on the market to pick up.
Nice.
So literally, I don't plan on playing him, but
Yeah.
nobody else is getting him either.
Yeah.
This is chess, not
It'd
checkers.
be like that.
Yeah, I picked
You
up
could
a
drop
bunch of
everyone on your
dudes in
bench
the
and pick up
dynasty
people like
for that. I picked up like the Tavian Wicks and a couple other like young guys that I'm never ever going to keep them as like part of my carryovers for the next season. But now nobody else gets to either. Now those guys will be able to be drafted guaranteed because they're on my team and I'm gonna drop them.
Yep.
Now, San Fran is going to Washington. They're favored minus 12.5 with a 49.5 over. I think that this could be the last game that we see Ron Rivera coaching. I'm pretty sure that Bieniemy's going to be their head coach next year.
I
And
don't
we're
like
not-
double-digit
there's
spreads, but give me the Niners. After what just happened this last week, this is
they're
a prime bounce back
revitalized
game
team.
to put 40 points on the
Well,
board.
who's playing quarterback? Is it Sam Darnold?
No. It's going to be Purdy.
It'll be Purdy.
Purdy.
Shanahan said the reason they held him out was because he had a slight stinger, and the game was pretty much out of hand, so that didn't make sense to put him back in.
But what he also said was, we don't know if this will be a short stinger or a long one. This could
that's
be
coach
one that
speak.
lingers. If it's a
that's
stinger in
coach
his throwing arm, that's something to keep an eye
Now,
on.
he
Like,
also could
if
very
you're
well
an
look
early
at it and
better,
say it's
I
the
would take
Commanders.
Commanders.
I feel good about, going in it with
12.5.
Sam Darnold and just handing it to Christian 25 times.
Yeah.
Which should get the job done.
I mean, look
but
what Brees
I know
Hall
the
did last week.
Commanders
Yeah.
have enough weapons to surprise people. Like, San Fran wouldn't see it coming.
Sam
It's just
Howell's
one of
also
those games
sitting.
where I put a bet on the
Is
San
he?
Fran to win,
Jacoby
and then I'm
Brissett.
like sweating it the whole
Brissett's going to
time.
get the start.
He's getting the start. You
Oh,
hear that,
yeah.
Austin?
Give me San
Yeah,
Fran.
no, I know that. That's why
Give me San
it's
Fran.
just, it has the makings of, like I said, one of those games
So-
where I put money on San Fran, and then I'm sweating it all game long. Like, why
And
am I sweating this game?
It's
Shouldn't be,
because
but it's the NFL.
Jacoby Brissett is going to throw it 25 times to Terry McLaurin.
Because nobody's seen any tape on him either. And,
He's
and they're
gonna
gonna get the
legitimately-
job done.
So that's
Well, I
one
mean,
bet that I like.
Jacoby's
He's
been in the
he
league
has
long
more to
enough,
play
like,
for
you have plenty of tape on Jacoby.
I love
Brissett,
the,
but he also has the
on
mentality
this
of
team.
receptions
it,
prop
rip it and rip it.
for Terry. I think the receptions
Yeah.
prop for Terry is going to be good because he's going to get the targets. I think Curtis Samuel might be another one that's worth it as well.
I
Carolina's
still think the NFL is scripted. I just hate
Austin.
these kind
Carolina.
of spreads.
Carolina's traveling to Jacksonville minus 6.5 with a 38 point over.
Yeah, Jacksonville's looked like garbage. Carolina's kind of on the come up. They've been
Yeah, I
looking
think I'd
solid
take the
past couple of weeks
6.5.
I think I would
with
too.
Jacksonville.
As much as I hate to say it, I think I would too.
With Carolina.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd hit the
Yeah.
over on the 38 as well. I mean, Carolina just put up 30 by themselves against the Packers, and I think the Packers have a better defense.
Yeah, their defense has been suspect the last 3 or 4 weeks because Baker's turned up on him. Like everyone that's played him has kind of turned up on him. That's why they're begging for is it Joe Barry to get fired? Like they're in the same way that the Steelers were trying to get rid of Matt Canada. Like the Green Bay is trying to get rid of their defensive coordinator. It's been bad. They haven't yet, so I think that you slam that.
Green Bay.
I'm sorry, Jacksonville. Carolina. So Arizona's traveling to Philly. Another double digit
Battle of the Birds.
Spread. Oh. 10.5 for Philly with a 48 point over. I think we take Arizona.
I mean,
Phillies look bad, dude.
come on.
They have not looked like a
No.
team ready to go. Look what Tommy DeVito and the freaking Giants were able to do last week.
Well,
I know,
what-
but
To keep
That-
it close.
That's what leads me to my point.
Eagle
Is
would eat
last
a
season
Cardinal.
we realized Philly would get up on teams and just be able to hammer the run and just wear them down the rest of the game and coast out with the lead. Whereas this year, yeah, they're pulling out these victories, but like we even saw versus the Giants last week, they're allowing these teams in the second half to make comebacks because their pass defense is so weak. So when you've got these teams out here that are just forced to launch it 45 times because they're down by, 2 scores, it allows for these type of comebacks when you don't have the ability to shut down the pass. So I agree. I lean the Cardinals plus 10.5. If you're giving that extra half a point, the Cardinals can lose 30-20 for all I care, but I still hit
Did they
my
not
bet.
have? Are they not playing for a good draft pick?
The Cardinals.
Are they really
I mean,
not?
The
That's what kills me about the
organization
NFL.
is-
Like, bro, if you're not gonna,
the
if you're not winning
organization
these,
is-
you're not winning.
but the players on the
coaches-
field,
The
and
coaches too.
they are not playing to lose.
Ever,
Prime
dude.
example: Lovie Smith and the Texans last season.
The Eagles first seed. If they don't win by
Prime
10.5,
example. All
like,
they
that's
had to
not
do
a
last
true
season
win.
was lose that game, and they'd have got the number 1 pick. And that's what I'm saying is
Who?
the Texans
Last year.
last season they
They
would have
would've-
got the number
Oh,
1
last-
pick.
yeah,
All
yeah,
they
yeah,
had to
yeah.
do was lose the last game.
Yeah.
The organization wants them to for future purposes,
But
draft picks,
Derek
all that.
Stingley and
the players on the
Damian
field,
Pierce and all those guys aren't going to
yeah,
stop
Lovie
playing
Smith, who
hard.
was the coach at the time, like, yeah, they're not all of a sudden like the Cardinals. Jonathan Gannon's just pew 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 his ass. He's not out here just like, all right, guys, well, let's just coast through this game. It's the Eagles. No, this is a homecoming for him. You don't think he's going to try to go in here and be like, yeah, Philly, what's up? I helped your defense last year absolutely go to a championship. Let's see what they can do. Like, so that's my thing. Like, that you have that aspect as well of Jonathan Gannon playing against the team that he coached for last year. So yeah, give me Cardinals plus 10.5.
New Orleans goes to Tampa minus 2.5 with a 42.5 over under.
Pause real quick. What the fuck is a Saint? I know what like a Buccaneer is, you know.
The Saints.
I even know what like a Steeler
it's
is.
the church.
Like,
it's the church, dude.
Oh,
the Saints are the people. So a saint needs to have 2 miracles. They need to perform 2 miracles in their life, and
so they're like a really Christian team.
No, they're just from
like
Louisiana.
a really religious team.
It's also one of those to where it was inundated as the name of the team back in like the 70s. So I really couldn't tell you why they.
It's just strange. It's just
why
strange.
Why is
like,
Miami
emblem?
the Dolphins and not the Sharks? It still confuses me to this day, but it is what it is.
That would be
the Sharks would be so much better,
so much cooler.
Yeah, Miami Sharks won 2 back-to-back championships last couple of years.
Give me the Bucks at home minus 2.5. Like the way they've been rolling, the way Baker's been playing.
Saints look like they're out of the playoffs. Like, even though they're in it still, it looks like they're out. Like, in my opinion, they're not playing to be in the playoffs. The Bucks are playing to be in the damn playoffs right now.
So what's interesting is we knew coming into this year that
Saints
the Saints
need
had
a lot
the
of help
easiest
to make
schedule for their defense. Like, that was a defense we're targeting. So they are a team that should be into the playoffs. So them struggling the way that they are shows you that they're not going to make it past any rounds or anything like that. Like, that's a team to bet against.
That division, that division though. I mean, the Bucks are 8-7, and the Saints and the Falcons are both 7-8.
Yeah, they're only a game behind, but
like, so they're really
Bucks have to win this.
They're really not. They both have to win it. So like this, for all intents and purposes, is a possible NFC South divisional game. Like,
if you want to make money on this game, you put $100 on.
Don't say the number. Don't say
Mike.
How much.
You just put 100 or 100,000.
You don't say how much.
You can do whatever you can afford.
Put $100 million
on Mike Evans anytime touchdown.
He's got 13 on the year.
100%er.
Versus
99%er.
Austin, do you understand statistics at all?
Yeah, it's been happening.
I don't know.
Why, Matt Lattimore?
Yeah, dude, Marshawn
He's
Lattimore
been irrelevant all year.
He shuts down Mike Evans generally whenever they play.
That is the one person he does shut down in the whole league. It's weird. It is really weird.
It's because he's super good.
It sucks that's my favorite person to pop off this week is like Mike Evans.
Moving on to the
Jahmyr Gibbs
to the 4:00 games. Pittsburgh is going to Seattle minus 3.5 with a 41.5 over. This is a must-win for Seattle, and for Pittsburgh, if they
who's playing Rudolph?
Probably. They haven't announced that they're not playing him after 290, 2 touchdowns, and only 10 incompletions. I think that they're going to give him another. They're going to give him another shot. I think that he's gonna
minus the 3.5.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, give me Seattle.
The Christmas buff is over. His nose shone so bright only one time, and it's not happening again. Now Cincinnati is traveling to Kansas City.
Ooh.
You guys remember last year when that happened?
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not the same anymore.
They've lost 2 straight in Kansas City right now. Cincinnati's defense is actually kind of solid, and
Bengals
their offense
is
got skill position players. My big thing is Jamar Chase. Chase plays in this game. I might like Bengals plus 7. If he doesn't, and they only have Mixon like they did last week, I don't think that they can do it. What they showed last week without Jamar Chase, their offense doesn't exist.
On the flip side, though, with what the Chiefs have been showing you, like the Chiefs don't give me any confidence of beating the Bengals by a touchdown.
Nope.
Like,
not
so
at all.
even without
can't put up
Jamar
more than
Chase,
21.
give me the Bengals plus 7, and that's wild to say. Like, this time last year, if you had the Chiefs versus the Bengals without Joe Burrow -7, you're hammering that.
Yeah.
But right now, no. Give me the Bengals +7 on that. I don't feel comfortable about the Chiefs beating any team by a touchdown right now.
So I feel like what happened was last year, Pat Mahomes was able to do it by himself with no receivers. Everybody saw what they were capable of doing, how they were able to do it. How do we stop Pat? We bring in a pass rush that makes it to where he can't improvise. I think that's everything. Yeah, I think
You
+7.
also constantly bracket Kelsey to where
Yeah.
even if he does get the ball, it's for a 7 to 8 yard gain.
That's what I've seen with the Chiefs. There's no field stretchers. Nobody breaking
Nope.
it for long after they get the ball.
Now, Easton Stick is traveling to Denver to play against Jared Stidham. Denver's
Wow.
yeah. Denver is favored -3.5 with a 37.5 over under.
You're excited for this game?
No.
I mean,
I think Chargers
I'm
all
blowing
day.
at the bits.
I like
You know?
Chargers plus the 3.5 as well.
Yeah, the 37.5 over under I might actually go under on because Denver's offense has been bad with Russ. I don't think that they're gonna get that juice, a nice little jump start with Jared Stidham. But we'll see. Sean Payton, man, what he was supposed to do to this team and what's happening now, I think that this was possibly one of the worst moves that they could have made. I heard that they went to Russ right after he upset the Chiefs and told him that he needed to either change his contract right then and there, or they were going to end up having to sit him at some point. And then that whole losing streak that they've been on seems like it's because of that. It doesn't seem like it's because of the player. It's more about they're not in it. So I think
a little too much hype got built around them just because they started winning. They have a solid defense to keep them in games. If Russ could just put up a couple points, which he's done, they win games. Go figure. You're working with NFL athletes. You see the way fucking Sutton's coming down with the ball? Dude. You just got to throw it up to him.
What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I like the Chargers plus 3.5 especially with Stidham coming in, first start for the season, you basically get told the week of that you're the starter. For me, that's just go ahead. The Chargers took the Bills within 2 points with Easton Stick.
Exactly.
So for me, yeah, I'd feel good about the
And
Chargers.
This is his third game. He played that that Thursday night game or whatever.
That's what's scary. Is it's kind of like that third and fourth game is like that downfall for these backup QBs coming in.
Really Green Bay is traveling to Minnesota. Nick Mullins also second or third game.
Yep.
Now,
and
what we were saying earlier,
been looking solid all year.
Well, what we were saying earlier, Green Bay's defense has been giving up a lot of really good quarterback performances lately. They don't have any Jair Alexander. They suspended him for that. What?
That was hilarious.
Did they suspend him because the media asked him about it and he said all that shit? Or did they suspend him because he went out there and
It's because he wasn't a captain and went out there, which was whatever. Probably wouldn't have mattered because he's from the area. Okay, but because he was also the one that spoke and almost messed up the verbiage.
Do you think that's what did it?
Dude, they asked him. The refs had to be like, "Do you mean defer? Are you trying to defer, or are you just trying to give him the ball?"
I got what he meant. Too, but
I
get it.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy that you have to be that military when it comes to a coin toss. Though you're just you have to say the right verbiage, or else it's
but I do.
What do you mean?
I think the interview after didn't help when he was just kind of "Oh, well, my boys have yeah, I'm from the area. They know what it is."
Bro, he was
Coach must not have known I was from Charlotte, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's kind of fucked up that coach didn't know.
He probably knew. He just didn't care about Jair Alexander.
All right,
let's go win this
game. But you practice with this as a team. You're with your coach all week long, and you don't have one conversation with him. I guess you're not tight with your coach then.
Yeah.
If you're not talking with him like that.
Jair Alexander is one of the top cornerbacks in the league
that's
right now too.
That's what surprised me. Is I thought he would be a captain. I was
Right?
like surprised that he's not a captain.
Yeah,
Like,
that was my biggest shock. Was like, wait, you're not a captain?
Why not?
Yeah.
You're really good.
Yeah.
You're probably the best player on that defense, hands down. I
What
can't
did you
even
do
think
to
of somebody
Matt
else.
LaFleur? Why are you not a captain?
Dude, he must have fucked his wife or something. I'm just saying. So are you guys taking
think
Green
you've already
Bay
used that
at plus
line.
2?
No.
No?
Minnesota's been looking
Yeah.
great. Justin
No.
Jefferson's playing. Give me Minnesota.
with Justin Jefferson being back and being
The way that they
healthy.
came
No
back on
Jair.
that game last week.
And yeah, with no Jair, yeah, give me Minnesota.
Buffalo
the over
travel-
under is
oh,
looking.
That was it. That's
Yeah,
Sunday
that's a
night.
steep over
There's no
under.
Monday night football.
Yep.
Yeah, what about the over under?
No
on that? That's
Monday
pretty
night.
high.
That
46.5 primetime game.
I think that hits. Minnesota's defense has
Bingo.
been better as of late, but this is a divisional matchup. I think Aaron Jones and
That's why I think the
Christian
under
Watson's
hits.
probably still out, which is crazy, man. That like we haven't really gotten any information about his injury. He's just been like questionable,
So,
moved to doubtful, and
Going
then
on
out.
to next year with
like
his
3
value
weeks.
is moving forward is kind of hard.
Dontavian
like,
Wicks
we
is
know
my
the
favorite
talent
receiver
there.
on that team for next year. Like of
No,
all the guys there,
Jalen Reed, bro.
Well,
Come
Jalen
on.
Reed is
he's
sick.
Made it, he's
He's
solidified
sick.
himself as like the number one for that team
but
next
dude,
year.
Wicks is kind of stepping
Wicks
up
is
too.
solid too.
He's stepping
Wicks
up.
is gonna be a sneaky pick for next year, but like if you
Tyler
want a
is just
solid dude to
lounged
pick
on
on
that bed right now.
Oh, she loves it.
Jalen Reed.
Well, make sure you guys go to Tulsi Rose at tulsirosetea.com for all of your tea needs. They've got a special going on. All their holidays teas are on sale, 25% off until they are gone. So
Use
we
the
will see
promo
you
code
guys.
Pro Football Pod.
Yep, try the pod one. That one will probably work.
Yeah,
We'll see you guys.
Pro football cod. That's next year when we go into the fishing business.
The fish market. There you go. All right. Well, thank you guys for
No.
joining us. We'll see you again on next week's episode. Peace.
Toodaloo, buckaroos.
I was talking about Call of Duty, dude. Multiplayer, Warzone, you know.
The pod cod.
Pod.
We just talked about Call of Duty, dude.